So the chatter about the Wall Street versus Main Street feud has definitely died down, and I mean that was to be anticipated because we knew this was going to happen. Those short positions eventually had to be covered, so this was going to eventually come to an end. It was inevitable. But I wanted to address a couple of things that have happened during this whole situation and stuff that happened prior to the situation that a lot of people are not aware of. So let's get into it. So the first one I want to discuss is the bias media coverage of this whole situation. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how slanted it was. It was all in favor of the hedge funds. It was completely against the retail investors. So they were completely helping to shield the short sellers and vilifying the retail investors. The audacity that the media companies had to say that these traders are amateurs. Okay, I get that there were many traders that came in that really didn't know what they were doing and they were buying up stock to go for the ride, right? They're hoping to make a quick buck. But the original traders that saw the opportunity and took the opposite position of the short sellers, those are not amateurs, honey. Those are people who analyzed, who are very smart, very intelligent, and who are genuine traders. They're stock traders. And so to call them amateurs, it was totally disrespectful. And just again, such a slant against the retail investors. But the final article that really just pushed it over the edge for me, I read it today and I couldn't even read through it without laughing because it was so just preposterous what they were saying. I mean, the lengths that they're going to try to make the short sellers look like they are the heroes of not just Wall Street, but the heroes of the stock market was just such a far-fetched stretch. It wasn't even funny. So the first part of the article stated, I can't even get through it without laughing. Okay, the first part of the article stated that the short sellers are the pricing mechanism which keeps stock prices in check. Wrong. That is not true. What keeps the stock prices in check is simply the act of buying and selling, not short selling, just selling. That is how the stock prices are kept in check. What causes them to go out of that check, go out of those boundaries, is when you start having things that manipulate the stock and things that, become more complicated than it really needs to be. And so that is what causes the volatility. That is what causes the stock manipulation. But what really keeps the stock price in check is just simply the transaction of buying and selling between traders. That's it. But the media companies would not have you believe that. And this article, just kept going on and on about how short sellers are so benevolent and they're so great. And they even go on to say, I can't even say this without laughing. They go on to say that the short sellers, along with regulators, help to root out fraud in Wall Street and on the stock market. Really? Are you really saying this? Oh my gosh. Need I remind you? Bernie Madoff. Okay? $65 billion Ponzi scheme. That was not rooted out because of any short sellers. It was rooted out because the financial crisis happened. And you saw that, the markets were plummeting and his company could no longer hide the fraud. And so that is what rooted out the corruption on Wall Street. It wasn't short sellers. So for them to go on and just praise short sellers like this, it was just so sickening. So I was really irked by this because, again, both sides were technically manipulating the stock. It was not just one side, but if you just read what the mainstream media puts out, you would think it was all of the retail investors' fault, and that because of them now the whole stock market is somehow in jeopardy. Again, the stock market is so enormous that these few stocks are not going to affect it. In fact, the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, you had these stocks that were being shorted, they all went down in price, but the stock market itself, these went up. The Dow Jones, S&P, and Nasdaq indices all showed positive numbers, and not by small margins. These were pretty good gains. So again, I've told you guys before, the many exchanges that make up the stock market, they transact trillions of dollars worth of trades in a day. And so again, to say that the short sellers and the retail investors, what they're doing is going to cause the markets to melt down, is a complete falsehood. So this, again, it makes me so mad that the media companies are trying to slant the information this way, which is not true. So that's the first topic I want to discuss. The second topic is what actually happened prior to all this one. So let's talk about it. So what most people don't realize, or maybe they just don't remember, is that last year we actually had a similar situation to this, which was with actually the Tesla stock. So most people are probably not aware that Tesla stock is actually one of the most shorted, if not the most shorted stock in all of the stock market. I don't know why. I really don't understand why short sellers love to short Tesla stock, but they do. And of course, you had the retail investors that saw the short position and they pumped money in, and it started skyrocketing the Tesla stock. So full disclosure, I actually own Tesla stock. I've owned them for years and years and years, simply because I believe in Elon Musk, because he's a mad scientist and he's awesome. So full disclosure on that. Anyways, so you had all these companies, or so you had all these retail investors that bought into the Tesla stock. It started pushing the stock price up. And then you had a whole bunch of just regular everyday investors, that just wanted to go for the ride. They went in. On top of that, you had institutional investors now coming into the Tesla stock. So you had hedge funds, private equity firms, you had, endowment plans, you had mutual funds all going in to the Tesla stock. So it massively pushed the stock price up. That is not what happened with GameStop. GameStop was only, really just retail investors going in. There's no big money movement from the institutional investors for the long game. They might have gone in just to play the short game, but they definitely were not going in for the long game. Now, this is where people are kind of getting this, needing some clarification on this topic. So Tesla stock went up and it stayed up. And that's because there's a lot of fundamentals to support that stock price movement upward. So what most people are not aware is that Tesla is not just the car company. That stock actually covers every other company that Elon Musk has created. The Boring Company, SpaceX, Solar City. I mean, anything he touches it falls under the Tesla label for the stock market. So it's not just one thing that feeds into the stock price, it's many things. So like SpaceX, they have government contracts for rockets. They also have what's called Starlink, which you can go ahead and look up. They also have Neuralink, which they just released information that they did a successful animal trial on. So, I mean, there's crazy stuff. I told you, he's a mad scientist. So there's crazy stuff Elon Musk is doing with his companies, and it's creating a ton of buzz and revenue. And so there's reasons why the stock price on Tesla has maintained at the higher levels. GameStop is not in the same category. Okay, so their stock price has already started to come down because, again, the short sells have been covered, and this round with retail investors and short sellers is drawing down. So you have GameStop that is in a whole different category, and they're going to not be in the same growth potential as Tesla. Tesla has immense amount of growth potential. GameStop, again, they're going to be more limited because it is a very niche market and they don't have anything else other than just GameStop. So, and I'm not saying that the gaming industry is by any means small, because it's not. We all know that it's worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's huge. I mean, one of the reasons that we have the computing power we do is simply because computers need to be able to process the graphics for games. So you can thank the gaming industry for your massive processors. Anyways, but like everything else in the world, technology is evolving, and the gaming industry is also evolving in how games are played. And so there's a lot of games that are starting to go online as opposed to providing physical discs. And especially with the whole pandemic situation, there's been a much bigger push for that. So it is not apples to apples comparison. Now, what the short traders have done and the retail investors have done, that is an apples to apples comparison. But what happens after is not. So the end result of these events, these two stocks are not going to end up in the same position. They're not going to end up in the same place. And so, and there's, again, fundamentals for that. So this is where I wanted to clarify that topic for you guys, because, again, I've had questions, coming at me about it. So I wanted to address it. And really, that's what I want to discuss tonight. So again, as always, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section below, and I will try to respond to them as soon as I can. And hit that subscribe button, and I will talk with you later.